I didn't raise my voice when the HOA president told me I'd have to remove the unapproved structure or face daily fines. She said it in front of a board, like she was issuing a royal decree. I let her finish, slid a rolled set of plans across the table, and quietly mentioned that these Warren T sketches from a hobbyist. They were the stamp drawings I filed 20 years ago when I designed the storm drainage system that kept her street from flooding every spring. The room went silent. Even their lawyer leaned forward, recognizing the seal. I didn't need to argue. The fact that my license and those blueprints existed stripped their entire complaint down to nothing but noise. The irony of that moment still makes me laugh, because I hadn't moved here looking for a fight. I'd bought my lot in the subdivision after years of working in the city, chasing deadlines and dealing with the kind of stress that builds up behind your eyes. I wanted something quieter, somewhere my kids could bike without traffic roaring past, where I could tinker in a garage workshop, and where weekends meant grilling in the backyard instead of getting called into another project meeting. The house itself wasn't grand, just a sturdy place with a wide porch that caught the evening light. The real treasure was the creek that curved behind the property. On spring mornings, you could hear frogs over the hum of distant lawnmowers. I thought I had finally landed where life might slow down enough to breathe. For a while, it was exactly that, until the HOA noticed I was working on a small detached workshop in the back corner of my lot. To me, it was nothing controversial. A place to store my drafting tables, some tools, and maybe a few personal projects. To them, it was apparently the end of civilization as they knew it. I came home one day to find a paper taped to my door in bold type, "Violation unapproved structure." It ordered me to halt construction immediately and threatened escalating fines if I didn't. Apply for a proper approval. The absurdity was obvious from the start. Not only was the workshop fully compliant with zoning setbacks and building codes, but I had pulled the official county permit myself, just as I had done 100 times on projects far larger. Reading that notice, I felt more bewildered than angry. Why would a neighborhood association presume they had the authority to override municipal permits? I tried the polite route first. I emailed the president, attached my county permit, and explained that everything was above board. I even invited her to walk the site if she had concerns. Weeks passed without a response. Then came the second letter, this time with fines attached, claiming my structure threatened the aesthetic balance of the community. I attended their next meeting in person, thinking reason might prevail. Instead, they smirked, waved off my documents, and suggested I should comply like everyone else. That was a turning point. I remember driving home that night, headlights cutting across empty lawns, realizing diplomacy wasn't going to work here. They weren't interested in law or fairness. They were interested in power. That realization shifted something in me. Instead of venting or threatening back, I got methodical. I pulled the original subdivision plat from county records, then the development agreements and utility easements filed decades ago. I knew where to look because I had actually been the consulting engineer back then. It wasn't a glamorous job, mostly stormwater modeling and pipe sizing, but it meant I understood exactly how this neighborhood functioned beneath the surface. I also knew that, technically, much of the drainage system still fell under municipal oversight, not HOA jurisdiction. So I gathered everything: stamp drawings, drainage calculations, soil reports. I documented their letters, photographed the violation notices, and saved every email. Night after night, I spread papers across my dining table while my wife sighed, equal parts supportive and exhausted. My kids started asking why the neighbors weren't as friendly anymore. It was isolating, realizing the board had quietly poisoned conversations against me. But the more they pressed, the sharper my focus became. By the time their lawyer called to threaten further legal action, I was ready. I knew exactly which ordinance exempted municipally permitted structures from HOA interference. I knew which clauses in their own bylaws contradicted the letters they'd been sending. And most importantly, I knew that my professional seal on those storm drain drawings made me the last person they wanted to challenge in front of a judge. When the board summoned me to another meeting to resolve the issue, I walked in calm, folder under my arm, and waited. They tried the same performance accusations about non-compliance, threats about liens. That's when I set down the plans. My seal, my license, my signature. The same credentials that had once allowed their subdivision to even exist. I didn't need to raise my voice. The silence in that room said enough. After that reveal, The entire dynamic shifted. Their lawyer advised them, bluntly, that they had no standing to challenge my workshop. Within weeks, the violation notices evaporated from my record. The fines were rescinded. The president, once so eager to lecture me, suddenly avoided eye contact at community gatherings. 2 board members resigned quietly, and the HOA retreated into the kind of minimal, harmless role it was supposed to serve in the first place. My neighbors, once cautious around me, started approaching with their own stories of absurd fines and petty harassment. A few even asked if I'd help them push back. Though I declined, I'd had my fill of HOA theatrics. Life settled back into the rhythm I'd wanted all along. I finished the workshop, lined its shelves with tools, and spent weekends actually building instead of arguing. The creek still runs behind the house. Frogs still sing in spring. And when I walk the neighborhood now, people either nod respectfully or cross the street to avoid me. Either way, it's quiet, which is exactly what I came here for in the first place.